Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It is Wednesday, February the 20th. Today is National Cherry Pie Day. Remember the song, Cherry Pie?
Yes, I do.
From the
I loved that song.
late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have to reach out to Eric Turner. He's in the band Warrant. We'll have to reach out to him today and wish him a happy Cherry Pie Day.
There you go.
Although I think it's probably really the actual cherry pie that they're celebrating. Also, National Love Your Pet Day, which shouldn't that be every day?
Of course.
If you have a pet, you should always love your pet, not just on special occasions like today. But today is a special occasion because I have Delta Goodrem joining me on the program. There's some people who instantly know that name because she has 9 number one hits of her own. But you're also going to know her from, there's a show called The Voice. She's one of the judges on the Australian version. She's from Australia, and she's the one who recently portrayed Olivia Newton-John in the Lifetime movie, Olivia Newton-John, Hopelessly Devoted to You. I'm super excited to visit with her. I've seen her online when people share the voice clips from Australia. They got a lot of talented people there. So, going to be chatting with her, Delta Goodrem, later in this program. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at weirdgiftoftheday.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the weird gift of the day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. weirdgiftoftheday.com. That's weirdgiftoftheday.com.
Now, surveys and studies and such brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. A study by the American Heart Association found that drinking diet soda is linked to a higher risk of stroke and heart disease. Well, that's not good. So is that the case, or could it just be people who think they need diet soda are already at risk of those? Know what I mean?
Could be.
Because, that'd be like saying, hey, they found that, if you wear a 3X shirt...
I do know they're higher in sodium, which isn't good for your heart.
That could be.
So, I bet, I'm sure that there's some validity to both of those things.
Well, it's like if they say, I wear a 3X shirt right now. I got a couple 2Xs that are fitting me now, so... But they could say that if you wear that size shirt, it gives you a higher chance of bad things. Well, it's not the shirt. It's me. I just think sometimes when they do these studies,
it's
I kind of
poor
wonder.
Decisions.
Yeah, it's like it wasn't the shirt that made me do that. It's just kind of a coincidence, So anyway, according to the study by the American Heart Association, drinking diet soda is linked to higher risk of stroke and heart disease. Replace it with water and you'll be just fine. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Credit cards. For years, I didn't use credit cards. We paid off all of our debt and we quit using credit altogether. But then our credit score went down. It was affecting our insurance rates. Not sure why, but that's tied to your credit score. I'm not suggesting you rack up credit card debt just to rack up credit card debt. But my wife and I now each use a credit card and then we pay them off every month. It's helped our credit score. But not all cards are the same. Some cards are better than others. If you'd like to find one that's the best fit for you, check out BetterCreditCards.net. That's BetterCreditCards.net. And this is your brain on drugs. Police say a Schenectady man apparently got
what?
his Schenectady man.
Schenectady.
Where he's from. You don't get to say that enough, do you? Schenectady man.
Schenectady.
Yeah, he got his phone numbers mixed up, and that got him arrested. Richard J. Betters Jr. facing charges of third-degree criminal possession of a controlled substance. I'm smiling because I just think it's so funny. He texted a drug officer.
Oh.
A police detective, texted an offer to this police detective.
Oh.
He played along, and the 44-year-old man came right to him. They met up at Taco Bell, where he was found in possession of 20 oxycodone pills. He thought that he was texting somebody else. Turns out he was wrong. His mugshot showed facial injuries that were present when the police encountered him, so they didn't do that. He had that when they got there. He was arraigned and ordered...
he had that when we got here.
Well, he did. He clearly makes bad choices, is basically what they're saying here. Held on a $20,000 bail. So, bizarre story, but wow. That just kind of makes me smile. That's what happens
hilarious.
When your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com. Today's entire portion here is going to be talking about the big screen because we haven't done this in a long time. When was the last time we talked about the movies that were out at the theater?
Oh, my gosh.
Why
been
haven't we quit
ages.
doing that? We used to do that all the time.
I don't know. We don't really
We're halfway through the week here. I thought tell me if you've even heard of any of these. Number one at the theater was Alita, Battle Angel, took in $27.8 million. Have you heard of that?
Never heard of it.
Nor have I, but it was the number one movie over the weekend. How about number 2? That was last week's champ, The Lego Movie 2, the second part, slipped to second place, $21.2 million.
Haven't seen it, but I like the Lego movies typically.
Another newcomer is at number 3. Isn't It Romantic debuted at number 3 at $14.2 million. What Men Want dropped to fourth place at $10 million, and Happy Death Day to You capped the top 5 at $9.8 million. Haven't heard of any of these.
Never heard of any of them, but
No.
I wouldn't mind seeing Happy Death Day.
Just based on the name? Okay. We'll have to check that out. This has been Big Screen, Little Screen, brought to you by ChannelSurferTV.com.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the Desert. Hear awesome 80s music from Scandal, featuring Patti Smythe, A Flock of Seagulls, Richard Page of Mr. Mister, Tony Lewis from The Outfield, Pretty Poison, Thomas Dolby, and more. Also, meet people from your favorite 80s movies, like Robert Hayes from Airplane, E.G. Daily from Valley Girl, and more. May 3rd and May 4th. Get more info now at 80sinthedesert.rocks. Use promo code RADIO to save $25 per ticket.
Now your scoop of the day, brought to you by BetterCreditCards.net. A Cleveland fire chief was arrested 3 times in one day for being drunk at the airport. How sad is that?
Oh.
So, I don't know exactly I know we'll have more of that story, because I've got to...
Say get out and go back to the airport.
I think so. I don't know. It's like, I got somewhere to go, man. I don't know. I've got more of that story coming in. We'll share that another day. Jose Cuervo, the tequila... They've opened an all-you-can-drink tequila train in Mexico. The Jose Cuervo Express will run from Guadalajara, Mexico, to the town of Tequila, Mexico, and it'll feature unlimited amounts of the agave spirits. So all-you-can-drink tequila would be like one shot for me. It's just,
yeah, I don't do well with tequila.
you can book your trip now, and they're expecting a lot of blackout dates. 'Cause the tequila.
Yeah, I
and
see what you
you'll
did there.
Blackout. Okay, I'll move on. Vladimir Putin is in the news. He was reportedly knocked down in a judo match by a female Russian Olympian.
Oh.
Here's the thing. There are people out there going, oh, he got knocked down by a girl. Have you seen this lady that knocked him down?
What was he
They were just
doing
They
in
were
a
having fun, I think.
judo match?
they do things differently, don't they? Imagine if that were here. Imagine if that were anywhere else. I don't know. It hadn't dawned on me until you just mentioned that. What was he doing? I don't know. And later that day, he wrestled a bear. I don't know. He was just having fun, I guess. But I've got a link to the story if you want to read all about it. And the lady's a pretty good-sized lady, and she's a judo Russian Olympian. So it's not like, because there are people online trying to make fun of him. You go in the ring with her then,
right.
mister. I mean, you think you're so tough. Hey, we're going to wrap things up here. We've got 2 minutes left, and we're going to talk about 8 things positive people do differently. So it says here, finding something every day to look forward to is something that positive people do. So we should actually put that on our calendar, something to look forward to. What can we look forward to every day? We'll have to get back to that one later. It says here whether it's catching up on your favorite show, trying out a new dessert recipe for dinner, whatever, having coffee with a friend, have something to look forward to every day, having concrete activities to look forward to, make your days unique, distinct, and hopefully give one a sheen of happiness. Ooh, I like that. I need a sheen of happiness. Celebrate the small stuff. This is another thing that positive people do differently. Don't prolong happiness. Find joy in even the tiniest things. Your favorite song coming on, a funny text from a friend, a beautiful sunny day. It all adds up. Sooner or later, you'll find out that all of the positive stuff that you're celebrating, these little milestones, add up to make you a happy person. Another thing positive people do differently, Heidi, be kind. When in doubt, choose kindness. Positive people look on the bright side, but they also tend to pay it forward by passing on their positive energy to others. Another thing that positive people do differently, stay busy. Busy isn't code for stressed out of your mind. Instead, busy means filling your life with fulfilling activities. So find something that you like to do and then do it. The next thing on the list of positive things that positive people do differently, accept responsibility for your actions. It says being positive doesn't mean be delusional. Own up to where you trip up or make mistakes and be honest with yourself and others. Next, forgive yourself. As much as you want to treat others with kindness, you deserve the same treatment. It says we all make mistakes, we all have regrets, but forgive yourself and move forward. 2 more here. Know when to move on and not to dwell on defeat. You got to pick yourself up and dust yourself off and forge ahead. And then the last thing on here says resist comparisons. Isn't that exactly what we were doing this whole time, though, comparing? So these are things positive people do differently. Resist comparisons. Being positive is far simpler when you're not setting yourself up against everybody else. And then
Right.
you're going to just basically set yourself up for failure by saying, I'm not as good as that person. So don't do that. I've got this list in our show notes for today. It's 8 positive things people that are positive do positively differently in positive ways. Something like that. It's in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. I'm positive.
Do you have IRS tax problems? Are they keeping you up at night? Afraid to open your own mail or even answer your telephone? If your tax problems are affecting your family life, you need to know you have options. You have rights. And we'll make sure you get them. Call and speak with Mike Habib, the tax expert who will handle your case at 877-78-TAXES or online at myirs.taxrelief.com. That's 877-78-TAXES or myirs.taxrelief.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Our guest today is Delta Goodrem, singer, songwriter, performer, actress, and philanthropist. You may know her from The Voice in Australia. I see clips all the time, Delta, that are shared all over the place on the internet of your show and other The Voice shows from around the world, but so much from Australia that it just tells me you have a lot of talented people there, don't you?
That's right. I've done it for 8 years. I was a part of the very first Voice, and my team has won 3 times. I'm a very proud coach over there. But we've got some incredible talent. We've done Voice Kids, and it just gets better and better each season.
That's awesome. And you're quite talented yourself, Delta. I see here 9 #1 singles. That's very good. And right now, we're going to chat about this movie. I think this is so cool. You get to portray Olivia Newton-John in the movie Olivia Newton-John, Hopelessly Devoted to You. Everybody loves Olivia, but growing up, you were a big fan, right?
Of course. I mean, I've loved Olivia Newton-John my whole life. As an Australian girl, I grew up absolutely loving her. And obviously, the whole world loved Olivia. But I think I was so influenced by her as an artist, as a role model, that she ended up becoming a dear friend of mine and a mentor in my career and my life. And when this opportunity came up to play her life, it truly felt like a dream. And now they're airing it on Lifetime this weekend here, and I'm very, very excited for people to see it. It's a celebration for incredible songs, all the songs you've known since, Xanadu, You're the One That I Want, Hopelessly Devoted, Honestly Love You. You've got an array of incredible songs. People sing along when they watch the biopic, so that's what I'm excited for people to kind of take a soundtrack through take a trip for the soundtrack of their life.
That's amazing. Now, I'm looking at some of the photos from this movie, and you became Olivia Newton-John.
It felt like it was funny because when I joined Sony Music when I was 15 years old when I got signed, and they said to me, "Who would you like to be when you grow up?" I said, "Olivia Newton-John," and a little while later that dream came true. Literally, I literally got to become her.
I think it's an amazing story that you grew up just, really loving her music. Then when you started your own music career, you guys had a chance to collaborate and do some music together and became friends. And now you're portraying her in a movie about her life. That's got to make her feel really good that you're going to portray her, and you have portrayed her in such an amazing way as well.
That's so kind. Thank you. I definitely spoke to her a lot about it, and when it first came up, I said to Olivia, I was going, "Okay, you realise this is quite daunting to play my idol," and she said, "I know," but at the same time, we became dear friends through the fact that we're both cancer survivors, and we both walked on this path, and she became a big part of my music, and we both like to give back a lot to the community too.
Again, visiting right now with Delta Goodrem. She's a singer, songwriter, performer, actress, and philanthropist, and she is portraying Olivia Newton-John in the new Lifetime movie, Olivia Newton-John, Hopelessly Devoted to You. So as you were doing this and filming the scenes, so many famous scenes from movies we all grew up watching, and so many songs that you listened to growing up, and you got to step in her shoes in that moment of time, that had to be just such an amazing moment for you.
Yeah, the thing that fascinated me was actually just the feeling of when I was singing Hopelessly Devoted, or I Honestly Love You specifically. It took me right back. Those are the first songs I ever sung for people, and my family realized that music was in my heart, in my blood. And they were the first songs that I remember sitting with a karaoke device and going, and being able to sing for my mom and dad, and they watched and said, "Yeah, this is what she does. This is real." And so I think that feeling of when I get to sing those songs now, and you hear in the soundtrack, I tried to keep pretty true to the originals, to keep them, to respect, because they're so brilliant. Why would I need to do them again? So I kind of felt like I just wanted to bring my heart and soul to the soundtrack, and I did them. And then Olivia came on and did 2 duets, and that was a real privilege. And I got quite teary when she was in the studio with me, because after playing her life story, I was like, oh, this was such a trip, with a new layer of our friendship, and also a new layer of getting to experience a full circle moment of who you idolize, and also you've become back being the kid again, rather than the artist and the adult that I am. And
you got to walk a mile in her shoes, literally.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, think about this. This is a really bizarre thought. 20 years from now, there could be a young lady playing Delta Goodrem.
But yeah, that's what some of the pals can say now.
Because you've done really well on your own. 9 #1 singles, your last album, Wings of the Wild, debuting at #1 with a #1 platinum hit. It wouldn't be beyond the realm of possibility for, someday down the road, somebody to be portraying you in your life story as well.
Definitely. I mean, I definitely loved it. I've grown up in front of Australia. I've definitely been a part of their furniture for a long time, and having music and the thought of that somebody would play. Actually, it's quite interesting fact. The young girl who plays young Olivia in this movie, she played young me in a music video I did when I was 18 years old in Australia, in a #1 song. So that was pretty trippy. When she came on, I was like, hang on a minute, you played young me in my videos. So that was quite out there.
That is very cool. Delta Goodrem has been our guest. Delta, thank you for taking the time to visit, and thank you very much for doing what you do. I think it's really inspiring to a lot of people.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much, John. Thank you for your time.
Again, the movie is a Lifetime movie. It's on Lifetime Network. I'm going to throw a link to all of the details so you can find it. It's called Olivia Newton-John, Hopelessly Devoted to You. All of the details in the show notes at johnandheidishow.com. Credit cards. For years, I didn't use credit cards. We paid off all of our debt, and we quit using credit altogether. But then our credit score went down. It was affecting our insurance rates. Not sure why, but that's tied to your credit score. I'm not suggesting you rack up credit card debt just to rack up credit card debt, but my wife and I now each use a credit card, and then we pay them off every month. It's helped our credit score. But not all cards are the same. Some cards are better than others. If you'd like to find one that's the best fit for you, check out bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Women can actually give birth after they've passed away. Did you know that?
I have heard of women
this.
being kept on life support so that they can birth their children.
It is very rare, but it has been known to happen. This isn't a fun fact. This is kind of a morbid fact, but it's called a coffin birth. Yeah. It's a phenomenon that occurs when a pregnant woman delivers a child spontaneously after her death due to gases that build up in the abdominal area, putting pressure on the mother's uterus and forcing the baby out of the birth passageway. So that is just a bizarre thing. That's not a fun fact. I'm sorry.
That is not a fun fact.
I kind of feel like I owe everybody
But
a
it is an
fun
interesting fact.
It is very interesting, but it's also a little disturbing. So I'm going to do better tomorrow, I promise. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.
Join us in Las Vegas for 80s in the desert. Hear awesome 80s music from Scandal, featuring Patty Smythe, A Flock of Seagulls, Richard Page of Mr. Mister, Tony Lewis from The Outfield, Pretty Poison, Thomas Dolby, and more. Also, meet people from your favorite 80s movies, like Robert Hayes from Airplane, E.G. Daily from Valley Girl, and more. May 3rd and May 4th. Get more info now at 80sinthedesert.rocks. Use promo code RADIO to save $25 per ticket.
Now, fear this. Time for fun with phobias. You think you're ready?
Oh, yeah.
Kleptophobia. I bet you know this one.
Fear of stealing.
Yeah, exactly. Fear of stealing.
Why would you be afraid? I mean,
Kleptophobia.
why would you be afraid of stealing? It's just something you shouldn't do anyway,
don't
so
do
you
that.
shouldn't have a fear of, oh, what if I accidentally steal something today?
Have you ever stolen anything, Heidi?
No.
You stole my heart. You liar.
Oh, man.
When I was a little kid.
You know what? That's not entirely true, because when I was a kid, I remember being in a store with my mom, and there was this lip gloss that I wanted, and she wouldn't buy it for me, and I took it.
Did she make you take it back?
I don't think she ever knew. I never told her.
Well, what's the statute of limitations? Is she going to prison? Is she going to prison today? I stole, and I didn't steal. I picked up like a toy gun at a store, and it wasn't a store that sold that. It was a toy that belonged to the owner's kid. I was a little kid. And it was later that day my dad saw that I had that. And we went back and I had to apologize for taking this kid's toy. So I learned a lesson. Don't steal stuff.
I felt terrible about. I mean, my whole life I felt terrible about that lip gloss.
You're gonna have to.
That store is out of business.
It's all your fault.
It was that 68-cent lip gloss that
Way to go,
they
Heidi.
lost. Those lost leaders.
This again, kleptophobia, fear of stealing. Thanks for listening to our fun with phobias.
Do you have a pretty good sense of humor? You might like this. Early in the morning each day and every day, we share something weird to make people laugh at weirdgiftoftheday.com. You don't need to sign up for anything. You don't even need to spend a penny. Just follow the page on Facebook and get a smile to start each day when we share the weird gift of the day. Not on Facebook? That's okay. You can see the weird gifts on our website too. weirdgiftoftheday.com. That's weirdgiftoftheday.com.
Now some weird news brought to you by weirdgiftoftheday.com. Before I even read the story, I just want to make sure that we're not trying to make anybody feel bad by reading this, because I could see where somebody could say it's ageism, or there's even like not sexual assault really, but I'm not exactly sure. When I read this, I teetered on not even doing this on the air, didn't I?
You did.
And she was like, just read it. And I said, you got to be careful not to laugh about it, or, do. I want to.
You know what?
It's
I'm
kind of-
sorry. I will laugh at things that make me laugh. And if that offends somebody, I'm sorry
This is the
that your
bizarre
life is
thing,
so
though.
miserable.
Just calm down, Heidi. I'm going to read to you what it says. A 64-year-old Florida woman is free on bond after allegedly groping and grinding upon a younger man who declined her advances. So, and it says here, in an offer to accompany, she was offering to bring him back to the Villages. That's where she lives in Florida. Come back to the Villages. It's the largest retirement community in the nation. And it says Mariana Ann Zambaro, I'm probably saying all of that wrong, got criminally frisky with an employee of a restaurant near her home. She was trying to bring this guy back to her place. She gets to go to court on the 19th of March. This happened at an eatery at 7:45 in the evening. She had been drinking quite a bit, and then she started getting, the tipsy woman got very touchy-feely. I'm not even going to say what she was doing, but she was touching him inappropriately, we'll put it that way. And when I first read it, I was like, wow, that is, I thought it was funny, because it's like, you just would never expect that to happen. But that's why it's weird news, because, that's not normal. That's not usually what happens. And some guy that's just trying to do his job, and this lady's trying to bring him back to her retirement community, the tipsy senior.
I mean, couldn't he have just said, ma'am, I'm not, you're not my type, and just been done with it? Why do you have to call the cops on her? She was out having a drink, having a good time.
Okay. As you read the story, Heidi, she was doing way more than that. She was grabbing him, and it had gone beyond okay. We'll put it that way. I've got a link to the story in the show notes. Now you see why I almost didn't read it? Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh, brought to you by FunkyMonkeyShirts.com. According to a news report, a man melting down some dental fillings in his apartment building caused fire officials to deem the dwelling uninhabitable because of mercury contamination. That's weird.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, a 51-year-old man tried to melt some fillings on January 25th. He received the fillings from his dentist grandfather. He thought they were made of silver. Well, it turns out, no, they're made of mercury. He became sick and has been hospitalized since the 28th of January. His girlfriend called the building management company, prompting hazmat team to come in.
Oh, my gosh.
It says elevated levels of mercury in that apartment and other areas in the building caused it uninhabitable. So they will not be opening that until they get the entire building cleaned. So, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of money coming back on that guy.
Yeah, it's a bad deal. It's why it's today's moment of duh. Credit cards. For years, I didn't use credit cards. We paid off all of our debt and we quit using credit altogether. But then our credit score went down. It was affecting our insurance rates. Not sure why, but that's tied to your credit score. I'm not suggesting you rack up credit card debt just to rack up credit card debt. But my wife and I now each use a credit card and then we pay them off every month. It's helped our credit score. But not all cards are the same. Some cards are better than others. If you'd like to find one that's the best fit for you, check out bettercreditcards.net. That's bettercreditcards.net. Now, these three things. Tell me, Heidi, what do these three things have in common? A hobby store, a fashion show, and a car dealer. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen, while Heidi's thinking.
A hobby show.
No, a hobby store.
A hobby store.
A fashion show, and a car dealership. Think of what happens at a fashion show. Who's on stage?
Models. Oh,
Okay.
so model cars,
Yeah.
model.
And car dealerships have different model vehicles, so they all have
Okay.
models. A hobby store has models, a fashion show has models, and a car dealership
That was
has
a bit of a
models.
stretch.
You know what? There was one that was even worse than that I deleted because I didn't know two of the three things. I'm like, what is a? Yeah, I'm just not going to do that one because like it was stages.
It's like the one from yesterday.
Yeah, I know some of these are a bit of a stretch, but this had stages, and then it said microscope. A microscope has a stage. What is the stage? Is that the thing you put the
It
stuff
must
on?
be the thing you put the
Apparently.
the little.
I decided not to do
sample
that because
on.
Heidi would probably stab me with this letter opener. These three things on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is good news. It comes your way courtesy of 80sinthedesert.rocks, and there is a promo code RADIO. So for those of you wondering what that promo code is, because I can't post that on our social media, so we can only say that here because it's the radio promo code.
Right.
That's a little weird, but there it is, radio. Here's the good news. This is, I think, a really kind of a cool story. A near-death experience inspires an inventor to create a wetsuit that allows disabled people to swim once again. How cool is that? So it's a story of person who was out surfing, and then he became an inventor. He ended up helping people be safer and feel more confident in the water, and it started in Ventura, California, when a resident by the name of Mark O. Rusco was surfing one of his favorite breaks when he wiped out and was held beneath the water by the waves. He said, while I was waiting for the white water to release me, I came up with the idea of a suit designed with an extra breath of air. It's a good idea.
Oh.
His inspiration led to the first invention, the breath vest, a wetsuit with air bladders built into the chest, and it would provide you with a small air supply. If that happens, you could, take a breath underwater. Well, the goal was to help surfers with an extra breath of air. He realized the air bladder made it easier for people to float as well. People who wore the suit loved them because they could swim easier. So he came up with the idea for the floater. Instead of an inflatable air bladder, he developed a patented foam pad so people could float, and then he founded the company Airtime Watertime. So it's a neat idea, the whole thing. I've got a link to this story, and you see pictures of people who are wearing these, who in the past, they loved being in the water. Then something happened where they lost use of their limbs, and they couldn't do this anymore. And now, people who are...
That's a beautiful idea.
Yeah, people who are
That's
paralyzed are able to enjoy the
fantastic.
water again. So it's a neat idea. Again, the headline, Near-Death Experience Inspires Inventor to Create a Wetsuit That Allows the Disabled to Swim Once More. I've got a link to that
That's so
story.
cool. I love that.
It's really cool. I come up with so many cool stories, and I wish I could share all of them, but I do share a link to at least one every single day.
Right.
If you come across something that's a neat story, you can share those with us, too. We'd love to have those. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday.